From darkness to light. Today we're going to talk about the difference between spiritual and religious. Hi, my name is Cyril War. Welcome. If you're here for the first time and you're interested in spirituality, then start today by subscribing to this channel so that you don't miss anything. So the question of spiritual versus religious is a topic that's been talked about for years and years and years, both in religious circles as well as in academic circles. And to begin, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not gonna summarize and give the definitive answer in a few minutes, but I do want to share just some small insights on the topic. But in no way are we gonna, exhaust all the angles and come to a definitive conclusion. We often hear that religion is bad, spirituality is good. That's the basic sort of rhetoric that we kind of get online and from different religious leaders and just popular culture in general. I'm totally spiritual, but I'm not at all religious. So let's define these terms a little bit and then get into the nitty-gritty. And what I want to do is kind of try to give a little bit of a nuanced view on it, and not sort of like bashing religion and exalting spirituality, but giving, like I said, a balanced view on the topic. Religion usually is referred to when speaking about stuff that are sort of more material, in terms of material culture. So things relating to begin with, to the body, things related to organization of bodies, things related to organizing bodies in certain buildings, like a church or a mosque or an ashram or a synagogue. That's what we often mean by the word religion, right? A set of doctrines, a set of rituals. Excuse the wind, by the way, if there's wind in the background, I'm sorry. The god of the wind is acting up today. So that's what we're talking about, material stuff related to material things. And spirituality, by definition, is kind of opposed to matter, right? Or is in opposition to matter. Spirituality, by definition, has to do with spirit, and therefore is beyond, the body, beyond the mind, beyond organizations, beyond social hierarchies, beyond, relationships of power, beyond nuts and bolts and opening hours and closing hours and all that. And in that sense, obviously, spirituality is the most important thing. Like, spirituality is if we define spirituality as relating to the eternal, which is like the soul, the consciousness, divine consciousness, the afterlife, eternity, then yeah, obviously spirituality is where it's all at. But this is where I want to kind of give a little bit of a counterbalancing effort here. No man is an island, and unless you're like some hermit, and there are hermits out there, and hi to all the hermits, probably are not even watching this video if they're real hermits. So unless you're a hermit or some like ascetic who lives like totally away from any human society, in some cave in the Himalayas or in some, I don't know, whatever, in some hermitage far in the forest somewhere and you're all alone there, then in that sense you can do away with religion. Right. But generally speaking, for like 90+% of all of us here on Earth, we're social beings. And the fact is that being spiritual, generally speaking, is a two-way street. It's a one-on-one with the spirit. It's you fly your own plane, and it's your consciousness, and it's just between you and the divine. But there's also another element, which is a sense of community, a sense of hanging out with other people who have similar values, similar spiritual practices, and from whom you get inspired to be spiritual. You see what I mean? So in that sense, religion, quote unquote, is important. There's this famous saying, that religious institutions are necessary evils. necessary. They're evils, but they're necessary. So like, for example, let's say you're like, I don't know, so you're a yoga practitioner, you do yoga. Now, you can't take it for granted that someone's organizing the yoga studio, someone's organizing the opening and closing times, someone's organizing someone to come and clean the studio for you to do your asanas. Similarly, let's take a church. You can't just make abstraction of the fact that there's some pastor or some priest who are taking the time to organize manpower, to organize funds, to keep the place heated and lit and clean. So why? So that people can come together and be spiritual. So it's a balancing act. I would recommend, don't spit at the concept of religion, defined again as sort of the external stuff that kind of keeps people and ideas and rituals and timelines together. Don't throw that out with the wash water. Spirituality and religion, are they do have stuff in common. The essence really is spirituality. We'll all agree with that. But religion, in the sense again of organizational stuff, does give a nice support. It does give an important support to our spirituality, because otherwise the tendency, I've seen it, the tendency is to say, I'm really spiritual, but actually just calling ourselves spiritual but not really being spiritual, right? Or having a very condescending attitude, like, oh, you're part of some religious organization? What a joke. You're not advanced enough. When you get to my stage, you're like, transcend all religious organizations or all religion or all sanghas or all groups, or all congregations. Not necessarily. You can be a hermit all alone in some cave and be totally materialistic in your consciousness. And yet you can just be a humble member of some, some Christian denomination in Mississippi and be super, super, super spiritual, right? So here's some thoughts on the topic of religion versus spirituality. I hope you liked it. And if you do, please do subscribe. It helps the channel. It helps the world in our tiny way. And remember, we are much more than our body and our mind.
Hare Hare Krishna, Hare